Hi you guys, it's Andrea and welcome to my channel. I want to talk a little bit about COVID-19 and share my experience. I want to tell you guys the symptoms I had with COVID-19 and the aftermath. I think COVID-19 is something we should not take lightly. There are certain people out there who have severe symptoms and others might have mild symptoms or no symptoms at all. I'm hoping sharing my experience with COVID-19 can help someone going through this. The way I got COVID-19 was through my husband, and my husband got it through his supervisor. On January 27th, my husband went to go see his supervisor and went to his office not knowing that his supervisor was sick. Alright you guys, so my husband got tested an hour ago and he came home with the results saying that he was positive. I decided that I as well am going to take the test because I'm pretty sure that if he's positive, I might be positive, but I just need to be sure and certain because we have two little kids that if I turn out to be positive, then I need to come back and get them tested. I'm hoping that I'm not positive, but I'm not sure. So I'll let you guys know what the results are. Crossing fingers I'm not. Hey guys, so I just got back from taking the test and I was in there for a lot longer than I thought I was going to be in, but shockingly I am negative. So I was very surprised, but the doctor believes that I am positive. So he was telling me that more likely I am positive, and when you come into contact with someone who has COVID-19, it is best to wait 3 days. You can get accurate results. So I'll come back in 3 days and we'll see if the results are different from what they are now. So I'll keep you guys informed. But sure enough, the following Monday, which will be February the 1st, I went ahead and got tested and I was positive. I was so mad, I was so upset because I was like, oh no, this cannot be true. I was like taking good precautions. It probably was already in my system like the doctor had mentioned, but I had a slight doubt that I was going to catch it, but I was like, oh my goodness, my kids, they're going to be next, and sure enough going to catch it. So I waited 3 days after I got tested just because I wanted to be certain that my kids, if they were going to be positive, that they were going to be positive with positive results. So 3 days later, February 4th, I get my kids tested, and sure enough they were. And I didn't know that day that my kids got tested, the doctor was like, your kids have a fever, and I was like, really? No, I did not know that. I should have paid attention to that time, but they were acting totally fine. I didn't even know that they had a fever because they were running around the house. So we all got tested. Through the first week of February, my kids, the only symptoms they had was that first day that they got tested, they just had a fever, and then the very next day, diarrhea. And then they were completely fine after that. I was like, okay, that's not bad. I guess kids handle it pretty well. My husband, from day one, he started feeling all the symptoms. He started feeling the nausea, the chills, the fever, everything, you name it. And I was surprised that one of the symptoms my husband was getting, that when he was comparing with his coworkers who were also positive with COVID due to the supervisor, that they all had nightmares. They had crazy nightmares. They were awake, but they weren't awake. They were just having crazy nightmares. And I was surprised that was one of the symptoms that you can get with COVID. And I, on the other hand, had just slight cough. I was surprised because I was like, well, maybe this is all I'm having. It was just slight cough, like, maybe I'm one of those lucky ones. But it wasn't until the following week that my symptoms kicked in. And sure enough, I started feeling the mild symptoms. I only had nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. Hadn't let anyone know that we had COVID-19. The only ones who knew were our parents. There was no way that we were able to talk to anyone else. The max we were able to be on the phone with our parents were like for 5 minutes. When you have the shortness of breath, it takes a toll on you. You can't even speak that much. I wasn't even able to wash dishes. It just takes a big toll on you. I called state health department and they had informed me that a person who has COVID-19, who's positive, who has severe or mild symptoms, they have to stay in isolation for 10 days. After 10 days, they're in the clear and no longer contagious. But if you're positive and you don't have any of the symptoms, then you have to isolate yourself for 2 weeks. So it's been 13 days since we last saw my husband, and so therefore he came out of isolation. My husband was feeling so good that he decided to go back to work the following week. I decided to stay 1 more week in isolation just to be safe. And on February 19th, I went to go see my parents. I was so happy to be out of the house and see my family. My parents haven't even seen their own grandkids for a while, so they were so ecstatic to see all of us. I also had called my dentist that day to make an appointment to go see for my braces. The dentist had informed me that the only way that I was able to be brought in was if I had a negative result. So I said, sure, that's okay. So then the following day, February 20th, I went to go get tested, and to my surprise, I was still positive. I couldn't believe I was positive. I was in shock to hear that I was positive, and I had to let my parents know because I had just seen them. Let my parents know that I am positive, to be alert, to be safe. And I called the state health department once again to find out why I'm still positive. I thought, after 10 days I would be in the clear. They have informed me that since my husband had the severe symptoms, that he released the particles of COVID-19 through his chills, fevers, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. And since I had the mild symptoms, that the particles, the dead particles of COVID-19 were still in my body, and that they could linger on for up to 3 months. 3 months. And that there are some cases of people that are still positive for 3 months. And that doctors and dentists are well aware of this, that they shouldn't request their patients to get tested, as each time the patient tests and the dead particles are still in their system, they will still get tested positive. So I couldn't see my dentist, and I was still positive, and I couldn't believe I just did not want to be one of those people with 3 months of being positive. So I had informed my parents, and so they decided on February 26th to go get tested, as they started to feel under the weather. And sure enough, my parents were positive. Couldn't believe it. I felt careless and reckless that I had caused this to them. They were so careful. They were taking all precautions to not catch this virus, and I thought I was in the clear. I thought I was okay, but unfortunately, they were positive. My mom, thankfully, had mild symptoms like I did, and my father, he had severe symptoms like my husband, but he had it a lot worse than all of us. There's been times where he had a cough attack, and he stopped breathing for a little bit. And, I would recommend him to go to the hospital, because he's in his early 60s. He waited a little while because he thought, hey, my son-in-law who had severe, he made through it. I can make through it. But, it's different. Everyone's different. And as older you are, it's very high risk. It's not something you can take light or a joke. And my father, he had to go to the hospital. I couldn't believe to hear the doctors tell us that they had to pump in him 8 liters of oxygen. Like, he had lost that much oxygen the very first day he went in. And I know what a soda bottle is. I know what a liter looks like. That 8 liters of that is just crazy. He stayed in the hospital not for a week nor 2 weeks. He stayed there for almost 4 weeks. When he got out of the hospital, he was skinny, he was fragile, he was weak. And I couldn't believe that I might have caused this to him. I was the cause of him, not being able to breathe and, losing oxygen and being so fragile and just lose so much weight. But I really want to thank all those doctors, nurses, all the people out there that are helping patients that have COVID recover. Thank you guys so, so much, because finally my father, he's out of the hospital and he's finally home, sleeping in his own bed. My dad wouldn't be here or at home where he is if it wasn't for you guys. What this experience has taught me is that, life is short. Appreciate what you have. Call your loved ones and tell them you love them. Just, life is so precious. And if you know anyone who has COVID-19, please check up on them, see how they're doing. Make sure they have food and water, and just keep an eye on them. And always tell your loved ones you love them. I just don't want anyone to go through like the way my dad did. I don't wish this on anyone. I haven't even mentioned my own dog. My poor dog was even sick. He even caught it. Poor guy. He was vomiting in our house, and he even had diarrhea in our house, So anyone could catch it. An update now, my dad is home. I'm so thankful. He's not 100% better, but little by little he's getting better. And I finally, after 2 months, I am now negative. I tested negative, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I can now go see the dentist. I am not contagious. Hoping that from my experience that I'm sharing with you, you guys all stay safe out there. Please don't take this lightly. COVID-19 is something serious. Anyways, you guys, that's it for now. Please stay safe out there and take care.